Good morning, and welcome to Church of the River. I am Jessica Lakeman. I use she, her pronouns, and I serve as your acting director of Lifespan Faith Development. And I am pleased to introduce to you our special guest minister, Obri J. Richardson, who will be leading our worship service today. You wave. He's right here. He's going to be up here in just a minute. Minister Richardson is a preacher, social and theological ethicist, and justice advocate from Jacksonville, Florida. He earned a Bachelor's of Arts in English at Morehouse College, a Master's of Divinity with a focus in theology from Virginia Union University, and a Master's of Sacred Theology with an emphasis in social ethics from Union Theological Seminary of New York. Richardson is pursuing a Black Literary and Cultural Studies PhD at the University of Memphis, where his work centers on Black male formation and performance. Minister Richardson loves spirit and Black life and stresses a space where all Black people, women, men, LGBTQAI, gender nonconforming, all are valued and affirmed. We are so very pleased to have you with us today. Everyone will take a big breath with me. You are all welcome here today. In the rich tapestry of languages, cultures, and diverse hues, each contributing to the mosaic of our shared humanity, you are welcome here. In the myriad of ways you navigate and express your gender, in the authenticity of your self-expression, you are welcome here. In the varied paths you walk and the livelihoods you pursue, in the stories etched into your journey, you are welcome here. In the depth and breadth of your love, in the myriad of forms it takes, you are welcome here. With the richness of traditions that shape your spiritual life, each thread adding to the fabric of our collective wisdom, you are welcome here. No matter the distance you've traveled, nor the time that you've been away, in every homecoming you are embraced with open arms, and you are welcome here. Whether your heart brims with laughter or weighs heavy with tears, in every emotion you bring to this space. You are welcome here today. If you're new here, we are glad that you've found us and hope that in this community you may experience the warmth and love of this congregation. If you'd like to learn more about us, you can find our newcomer form by scanning the QR code in your order of service. Everyone is encouraged to engage with our soul work materials found on the bookshelf at the back of the sanctuary. Many folks find that busy hands make for a calm body and a focused mind. Now please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing hymn number 18 in the gray hymnal, What Wondrous Love. Announcements this morning for any of you who haven't been online or seen the announcements. Friends of Reverend Sam and Sandra have created a meal train sign up for anyone who would like to help provide meals for the family while they're settling in with baby Juniper. The link is in your announcements and in the weekly e-blast. Due to the construction, the first Sunday luncheons organized by the Pie Group are postponed until further notice. For today, everyone is instead invited to meet up at South Point Grocery at 136 Webster Ave. Google also does know where it is. After the service, there's a sandwich bar to order from, lots of grab-and-go items, and ample patio seating for everyone to visit and have conversation and get to know one another better. There is also ample free parking available. We hope to see you there after the service. There will be an organizational meeting for Pride Fest today after the service in the Beacon Room. And next Sunday, we celebrate our annual Flower Communion, one of our rich Unitarian rituals that comes from our specific tradition. You are invited to bring a flower to the morning service. We will bless them, and then each person will bring home a different flower than the one that they brought. For more details on these and other Church of the River events and activities, scan the announcement QR code in the pew cards in your hymn book slots. You can email Church of the River info@churchoftheriver.org, subscribe to our weekly mailing list, and follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram. You are also welcome to take the pew cards home with you if that makes it easier to follow the church's activities. With no more announcements, our worship service will now continue. Beautiful. Thank you, choir. We gather this morning and we give thanks for the bumps in the road, for the trials and tribulations, for the heartbreaks and the headaches, for the too much and the not enough. We gather grateful for the moments when we have fallen down and the moments when we have gotten back up. Grateful for the moments when we have helped somebody else up and the moments when we have been helped up ourselves. We gather grateful for the chaos and the peace, for the love and laughter. We gather grateful for all the moments in our lives that have led us to this place on this day, that we may come together in worship. If you will now join me in saying the chalice lighting words found in your order of service. We light this chalice for the challenge of freedom, the goal of equality, and the warmth of community. May all who gather here offer and find the blessings of acceptance, loving kindness, and a grateful heart. Amen. If you will now rise in body or spirit and join me in singing hymn number 1008 in the teal hymnal, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. And now it's time in our service when anyone who would like to come hang out in the front row is welcome to do so, as we have a story. Our story this morning is based on a story written by Leo Tolstoy, adapted by John Muth. The Three Questions. There once was a boy named Nikolai, who sometimes felt uncertain about the right way to act. I want to be a good person, he told his friends, but I don't always know the best way to do that. Nikolai's friends understood and they wanted to help him. If only I could find the answers to my 3 questions, Nikolai continued. Then I would know what to do. When is the best time to do things? Who is the most important one? And what is the right thing to do? Nikolai's friends considered his first question. Then Sonia the heron spoke. To know the best time to do things, one must plan in advance, she said. Gogol the monkey, who had been rooting through some leaves to find something good to eat, said, you will know when to do good things if you pay close attention. Then Pushkin the dog, who was just dozing off, rolled over and said, you can't pay attention to everything yourself. You need a pack to keep watch and help you decide when to do things. For example, Gogol, a coconut's about to fall on your head. Nikolai thought for a moment. Then he asked his second question. Who is the most important one? Those who are closest to heaven, said Sonia as she circled up in the sky. Those who know how to heal the sick, said Gogol, stroking his bruised noggin from the coconut. Those who make the rules, growled Pushkin. Nikolai thought some more. Then he asked the third question, what is the right thing to do? Flying, said Sonia. Having fun all the time, laughed Gogol. Fighting, barked Pushkin right away. Then the boy thought for a long time. He loved his friends, and he knew that they were trying their best to help him answer his questions, but their answers didn't seem to fit quite right. Then an idea came to him. I know, he thought. I will ask Leo, the turtle. He has lived for a very long time. Surely he will know the answers that I am looking for. So Nikolai hiked high up into the mountains where the old turtle lived all alone. When Nikolai arrived, he found Leo digging in a garden. The turtle was old and digging was hard for him. I have 3 questions and I came to ask your help, Nikolai said. When is the best time to do things? Who is the most important one? And what is the right thing to do? Leo listened carefully, but he only smiled and went on with his digging. You must be tired, Nikolai said at last. Let me help you. And the turtle gave him his shovel and thanked him, because it was easier for a young boy to dig than it was for an old turtle. Nikolai kept on digging until the rows were finished. But just as he finished, the wind blew wildly and the rain burst from darkened clouds. As they moved toward the cottage for shelter, Nikolai suddenly heard a cry for help. Running down the path, he found a panda whose leg had been injured by a falling tree. Carefully, Nikolai carried her into Leo's house, made a splint for her leg with a stick of bamboo. The storm raged on, banging at the doors and windows. When the panda woke up, she said, "Where am I? And where is my child?" So the boy ran out of the cottage, back down the path. The roar of the storm was deafening. Pushing against the howling wind and drenching rain, he ran further into the forest. And there he found the panda's child, cold and shivering on the ground. The little panda was wet and scared, but she was alive. Nikolai carried her inside and made her warm and dry, and then he laid her into her mother's arms. Leo smiled when he saw what the boy had done. The next morning, the sun was warm and the birds were singing, and all was well with the world. The panda's leg was healing nicely, and she thanked Nikolai for saving her and her baby from the storm. At that moment, Sonia, Gogol, and Pushkin arrived to make sure that everyone was all right. Nikolai felt a great peace within himself. He had wonderful friends, and he had saved the panda and her child, but he also felt disappointed. He still had not found the answers to his 3 questions. So he asked Leo one more time. The old turtle looked at the boy and said, "But your questions have been answered," he said. "Have they?" asked the boy. "Yesterday, if you had not stayed to help me dig in my garden, you would not have heard the panda's cries for help in the storm. Therefore, the most important time was the time you spent digging in the garden. The most important one in that moment was me. And the most important thing to do was to help me in my garden. Later, when you found the injured panda, the most important time was the time you spent mending her leg and saving her child. The most important ones were the panda and her baby. And the most important thing to do was to take care of them and make them feel safe. Remember then, there is only one important time, and that time is now. The most important one is always the one you are with. And the most important thing to do is to do good for the one who is standing by your side. For these, my dear boy, are the answers to what is most important in this world. This is why we are here." In a moment, we are going to bless our young people and send them out to their classes. We have childcare and Sunday school classes for children from birth to 5th grade today. And all children present are welcome to join us if desired. Just follow us out the back doors and we'll make sure that you get to where you need to go. So I invite the congregation to please raise your blessing hands in the air as we bless our young people today. Repeat after me. You are beloved. You are sacred. You are powerful. Go in peace.
Good morning. Our first reading for today is Luke chapter 4, verse 18 through 19. I will be reading from the New Revised Standard Version, and in the reading is this: "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because God has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. God has sent me to proclaim release to the captives and recovery of the sight of the blind, to set free those who are oppressed, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." That is our first reading. Our second reading comes from a quote by Mama E.T. Hari entitled Sacred Memory. Mama E.T. Hari states, "Sacred memory is ancestral memory that awakens and renews our consciousness towards nourishing and flourishing life. It also encourages our spiritual power to counter non-flourishing experiences and repair parts of our being affected by those experiences." That is our second reading. Let's go into a moment of prayer. Take a deep breath. Inhale. Exhale. Dear Spirit, thank you for hearing our prayers. Amen and Ashe. I have been given the task to do the offertory acts. We now take an offering that allows us to exercise that all-important generosity of spirit and to support this church and its many ministries. Donations may be made by scanning the QR code on the sign at the welcoming table, on your printed order of service, or on the pew cards in your hymn book slots. Excuse me. You're also able to send it via text to 901-350-2686 or on the website at www.churchoftheriver.org. The gifts of the congregation will now be most gratefully given and received. Once again, good morning. First, let me show appreciation to Reverend Sam and Sandra and Gideon and Juniper and Reverend Vahisha for trusting me with this opportunity. I would also like to thank you all, Church on the River, for assuming the risk of having me here to preach. You are truly people of great faith, and I thank you. A special thanks to Debbie, James, Mike and Jessica for their hospitality. They have made this space very comfortable, and I'm so grateful. Also, a church that is that deals with pride is amazing. I was like, OMG, I love this. And then y'all by the water, I was just full. Thank y'all so much. Let's go into our sermonic moment. I will be preaching, reading the scripture once again, Luke chapter 4, verse 18 through 19, and it reads, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because God has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. God has sent me to proclaim release to the captives and recovery of sight to the blind, to set free those who are oppressed, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." The title of my sermon today is called Reversing the Damage. Have you ever felt like your voice didn't matter? Have you ever wondered about the worth of your words? Have you ever questioned why your identity never fit the canvas of society? What do you do when you are dirtied because of the damaging of others? You're not alone. I often find myself asking these questions. As a black male reared in Jacksonville, Florida, where conservatism is drenched in the soil and sands, and the foundations of buildings are laid with patriarchy, I found myself asking these questions. From a child to a seminarian at the Seminary Proctor School of Theology at Virginia Union, I often wondered what my voice could offer if that conservative sand never touched my feet or wrestled between my toes. I would ask myself what a canvas would look like if it disrupted patriarchal structures that embraced all humankind. These questions were birthed once I was dirtied by those who attempted to define and limit me because of the damage within them. To quote Setha from Morrison's novel Beloved, where anybody dirtied is where anybody of power could take your whole self for anything that came to mind. Not just work, kill, or maim you, but dirty you. Dirty you so bad you couldn't like yourself anymore. Dirty you so bad you forget who you were and couldn't think it up. What is attempting to dirty the people? Morrison uses the term dirty instead of colonizing because that's how it feels when you become aware and conscious that your history or your identity or your culture have been beaten, raped, and cut from your memory, embodying the dominant standards and norms. Before I go further, I must inform you that today's sermon title is not original with me. It is the words of hip-hop theologian and prophet Nas. You all know who Nas is. If not, I encourage you to go to that app of Apple Music and check out Nas. Nas is known for creating the hip-hop Bible in his 1994 album, Illmatic, where he musically spits what Jesus theologically demonstrates. He states in his song, My Bible, I'm talking about men and standards. I'm trying to reverse the damage. You boys obsessed with cameras, the debt we was handed. So many more like Judas look at the past. It's proven. It's my duty to speak truth to power. Nas addresses the mental traumas of black men and shares how he witnesses our brothers and siblings who have intimidated their ancestors in slavery, who has impersonated their ancestors and slavers and strive for fame while diminishing their family's name. So Nas informs everyone that he must speak the truth to power. and he must talk about the social, mental, physical, and economic chokehold that America has on people's necks. And in the Gospel of Luke, we encounter our 12-year-old sable-skinned Savior, Jesus. Jesus, who was born of a virgin named Mary and a daddy named Joseph. Jesus, who was a threat in the eyes of one of the Proud Boys, King Herod. Jesus, who uses sacred memory to perform his first public sermon. Many of you are wondering what sacred memory is, so I'll tell you. According to Mama E.T. Hari, sacred memory is ancestral memory that awakens and renews our consciousness toward nourishing and flourishing life. She goes further by writing that it also encourages our spiritual power to counter non-flourishing experiences and repair parts of our being affected by those experiences. Jesus uses the words from the prophet Isaiah in Isaiah 58, verse 6, to help us become more aware of our social and spiritual surroundings. He encourages us to use our spiritual strength to oppose negative experiences and improve parts of ourselves affected by those experiences. This sacred memory helps us revamp our social and spiritual awareness. Jesus sees Rome's social, political, and economic damage and refuses to follow and embody Rome's patriarchal and oppressive culture. Jesus was against the misuse of others' bodies. Jesus did not understand or even attempt to understand the exclusion and violence because it was anti-Black and unjust. Mind you, Jesus was only 12 years old. Jesus knew how Rome was and resisted the unjust behaviors that resided in the souls of the powerful. Jesus announces that the reason for his anointing by God, not by society, not by government, not by the pastor, not by the saints, but by Spirit. And the purpose of his mission in the world is to reverse the damage. Like Nas, God is aware of the damage polluting the lives of those in Rome during this time and uses Jesus to reverse what the Roman government had done. Jesus said, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me." The Spirit of the Lord was upon Jesus, represented as a dove. This dove symbolism presented Jesus as the opposite of Caesar Augustus and the Roman Empire, because on the night that Caesar was made emperor over Rome, he said that an eagle descended from its flight in the sky, settling on the rooftop of his house. The Romans believed in augury, birds as omens. Caesar saw this eagle symbolism as representing power and confirmation from the gods of the Roman Empire that he was the divinely appointed king. But Jesus appears and is baptized by John the Baptist in the Jordan River. As beautiful as this river here. The heavens open, the Spirit descends like a dove representing peace, and a voice from heaven cries out, "This is my beloved child in whom I am well pleased." This gives spiritual confirmation that Jesus the Christ was anointed for the reasons listed in this text. Jesus says, "Because God has anointed me to bring good news to the poor." Many theologians and biblical scholars have argued about the meaning of the word poor. Some say poor describes spiritually and materially poor individuals. In actuality, poor refers to marginalized individuals during this time. Marginalized is one of those seminary terms. It's one of those MTS terms, the Memphis theological terms. It's the cast aside, the oppressed, unheard, the neglected, the rejected. The poor are those who are excluded from social and religious discourse because they went against anything and everything Israel stood for, such as race, sex, gender, economic poverty, and spiritual impurity. It's black folks, it's women, it's children, it's lesbians, it's gays, it's trans men, trans women, the queer, the differently able, the gender non-conforming, the uneducated, the Muslims, the Palestinians, and others who have been forced on the margins. The great mystic Howard Thurman would say that these are the folks with their backs up against the wall. I have a question for you today, Church of the River. Are you bringing good news to the poor? Fathers, are you presenting good news to the poor? Teachers, are you presenting good news to the poor? Doctors, are you presenting good news to the poor? Politicians, are you presenting good news to the poor? As a matter of fact, are you proclaiming, penning, and practicing good news to benefit the poor? Like Jesus, you are obligated to bring and demonstrate the good news. See, society has told you to treat women as second-class citizens. Society has told you to degrade and dehumanize the existence of those whose sexual and gender performance does not create economic advancement in this country. Don't you see the damage? I must ask y'all this morning, what news are you bringing to the poor? Is it the same news as the government that says that you are not fully human? Or is it that good news that says you are beautifully and wonderfully made? I'm so glad that we have a sibling named Jesus who brings us good news. I want a Jesus who wants to bring me good news in the midst of a society and country that wants to cause inflation. Have y'all seen the gas prices? A Jesus who believes that I deserve encouragement. Jesus goes further and says, God has sent me to proclaim release to the captives and recovery of sight to the blind, to set free those who are oppressed. Release to the captives. These are those unjustly confined and must be set free. If we would just be honest, we've all been unjustly confined. Imagine a campaign promising that everyone in jail for weed, the possession of weed, would get it released. In fact, that's the prophecy given in Isaiah. Similar to how weed was a weapon for jailing people, poverty and public and political resistance was a tool to put people in jail. And Jesus was proclaiming freedom to a significant portion of the prison population, all of who should not have been there in the first place. All those people were there because the government failed them or was threatened by their existence. Freeing them wouldn't have just been justice, but an indictment of an unjust system, yet another threat to the empire. If I can go further, toxicity continues to be at its all-time high. Folks choosing politics over people, economics over ethics, and chaos over community. Many are mentally and emotionally scarred and socially confined because of the damage the system has forfeited in those of power. I encourage those of power from all shades and statuses to socially, mentally, spiritually release those from being imprisoned by the dirtiness of our society. I am so happy that Jesus does not follow the dominant standards. Jesus believes that our life is worth living. Okay, y'all. Y'all are quiet and I've held y'all too long. So let me end here so y'all can go to brunch, drink y'all mimosas, and discuss how bad and boring this sermon is. Jesus drops the mic by ending his sermon like this: to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. Okay, y'all missed that, so let me educate y'all. He has come to liberate those in social and political bondage and ends with an allusion to the year of Jubilee. Remember in Leviticus chapter 25, verse 8 through 10, when the land that had been stolen or justly acquired was returned to the original owners? Now, I'm not saying that there will be a check in the mail in 7 days. Not saying that. I'm not saying if you purchase a little prayer cloth that life will get better and God will heal you. But wait a minute. I know why y'all are not excited. I understand why it's quiet in the room. Let me expound some more. Again, Nas said, I'm trying to reverse the damage. I told y'all what Nas meant by damage, but forgot to tell you what he meant by reverse. May I remind you, like Jesus, that Nas observed the social ills in America and the damage caused in the lives of marginalized people because of the damaging imitation of anti-blackness. He said, I'm trying to reverse the damage. Reverse in this context is a verb. Come on. It's a verb. It's an action word. I learned in Greek that reverse has multiple meanings. But these two grab my attention. In the Greek, reverse means to turn something inside out or upside down, and to cause a mechanism or a vehicle to operate or move in the opposite direction to the normal. In other words, while Jesus is turning everything inside out, hateful policies are trying to turn the progressive vehicle back around. They reverse abortion rights. They reverse the DEI bill. They reverse all the Tennessee gun laws. They reverse the LGBTQIA+ bill and rights. Who knows what they will reverse next? So if Nas is seeking to reverse the damage, he is trying to turn upside down an oppressive system that has a normal routine of damaging the lives of the least of these. Just like these corrupt, racist, sexist, and queerphobic policies. But the teachings of Jesus lets us know that Jesus is in the reversing business. Jesus reversed the damage by handing out free health care. Somebody say free. Free. See, we all like, look, we trying to get free health care. Jesus reversed the damage by contesting patriarchal behaviors. Jesus reversed the damage by giving food to the hungry, drinks to the thirsty, and clothes to the naked. Jesus is in the reversing business, y'all, and so should you. Peace. May you please stand as you're able for the reading, for the singing of the hymn 1017, Building a New Way. the benediction. In the words of Toni Morrison, God is not only interested in you, God is you. Go in peace.